Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, February 9th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of ORA News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Armed and masked thieves overtook two vehicles, one that was transporting money for a second-level bank and another accompanying vehicle. After overtaking the vehicles and clashing with the security officers, the thieves stole the money. Several eyewitnesses say the robbers stopped the vehicles in the Kashar overpass. There is no official notification yet about the amount of money stolen, but an ORA News journalist reports that witnesses say about 7 to 8 bags of money were taken. The robbers' vehicle crashed into the accompanying vehicle, and then the robbers headed to the vehicle holding the money, using threats and firearms to overcome the officers. The ORA News journalist reports that the security officers of the accompanying vehicle tried to fight them off, but the robbers hit the driver. The robbery took only a few minutes, and there were several eyewitnesses present. The robbers' vehicle was burned, and they escaped. ORA News sources say that the security officers are being questioned by the state police. The annual Democracy and Media Institution opinion poll titled Trust in Governance 2016 was conducted across the country, and the results were publicized today. EU Ambassador Rama was present during the poll's presentation, which showed that EU institutions have a high level of the citizens' trust. The EU ambassador thanked the citizens for their trust in them and declared the EU institutions will completely engage in implementing the judicial reform and in the vetting process. Ambassador Vlahutin noted that the initial step towards implementing this crucial reform was made a day ago with the arrival of the international monitoring operation. The European Union is committed to supporting the implementation of the justice system reform in Albania. 71% of its citizens have trust in the judicial reform. I know people are skeptical about the implementation of the reform, but we are determined to realize the judicial reform and the vetting. For this reason, the international monitoring operation has come to Tirana. The reforms will be made regardless of rejections from those who have personal interests. 2 years ago, public trust in the judicial system was very low. For 2 years, we have struggled to restore the citizens' trust in justice. The first step towards implementing the justice system was made yesterday with the international monitoring operation. Albanian citizens trust EU institutions. More than 100 applications were registered just yesterday, the ambassador said. The public opinion poll explored the level of public trust towards governmental institutions, as well as citizens' attitudes towards the performance of public institutions and service delivery. The poll showed that the state police department is the most trusted institution in Albania, while citizens trust the judiciary and parliament the least. Citizens have a higher trust in the media than in the past, and though there was an increased trust in the health sector, an increase of 50%, the issue seemed to have sparked debates among members of non-profit organizations. The Democratic Party has launched a campaign to mobilize all of its structures and mobilize the citizens for a February 18th protest. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzambasha held a meeting today with the youth of Administrative Unit Number 7, where he invited the citizens to join the opposition's protest. The DP chairman said an important decision is expected to be made on February 18th and compared the protest with Romania's protest. On February 18th, we will not only have an opposition protest, but the start of a popular movement to return dignity to Albanian people. February 18th is the beginning of a movement that will end with the victory of Albania's citizens. Protests in Romania are the example. When the citizens and especially the youth rise up, the corrupt fall, said the DP chairman. He added that the first thing he will do when his government is in power will be to repeal the law on higher education. I promised the youth that my first decision will be the repeal of the law on higher education. We will fund internships for a year for 10,000 young people, said the DP chairman. Democrat young people from Administrative Unit Number 7 have been knocking on citizens' doors and inviting them to join the February 18th protest. The court in Kalmar, a region in eastern France, reviewed Serbia's request to extradite the former Prime Minister of Kosovo, Rama Haradinaj. The French court has decided to postpone its ruling on the case until March 2nd, after Rama Haradinaj refused the extradition when questioned by the president of the court panel of judges. Haradinaj stated his case is politically motivated. After the court session, Haradinaj spoke with reporters outside, saying, "The court made no decision today. The decision will be made on March 2nd. We hope it makes a decision earlier because March 2nd is too much time. Serbia's request to extradite is an unfounded abuse of the law." The former Prime Minister of Kosovo was arrested by French authorities on January 4th, acting on an old Serbian warrant. He was released on custody several days later. The court is expected to decide whether Haradinaj will be extradited to Serbia or released to return home. Prime Minister Rama inspected investments made in agriculture in Lushnja and Divjak. The Prime Minister said that around 400 kilometers of channels have been cleaned and reconstructed in order to furnish the plantations with water. The Prime Minister also said that the farmers will be equipped with water meters. "We'll measure the irrigation water with meters in order to guarantee irrigation of every plantation. In this way, each farmer will know how much water he gets and spends and will be able to manage it," declared the Prime Minister. He highlighted that 13 million euro have been invested to modernize the irrigation system. Along with the agriculture visits, the Prime Minister also visited some nearby areas where the project for rehabilitating a water collector has begun, and also inspected the reconstruction of a school in Lushnja village, a school with a value of 65 million lek. The municipality of Tirana will soon have a solid action plan for greening up the capital in the coming years. During a meeting with representatives from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, or EBRD, the methodology and strategy of development for this plan was presented. The mayor of Tirana, Ariane Villiers, said that this document will assist in prioritizing environmental challenges of the city and gave concrete projects for how these environmental policies will be developed. He appreciated the fact that Tirana is the first city in the Balkans that has been selected by the EBRD to support such an initiative, which aims to increase green areas in the city. The Orbital forest and the restriction of constructing on agricultural lands are two City Hall priorities predicted in the urban plan, which includes planting 2 million trees. We have made some decisions regarding the restriction of constructions in agricultural lands. We inherited an urban plan which had predicted a city for 4.5 million citizens. Today, we made decisions foreseeing a city that will grow by 1.5 million citizens by 2030. We will draft specific projects based on this political decision, declared the mayor, who also added that City Hall has asked business representatives to help fund the tree planting. It's the first time that a City Hall has had such a considerable amount of money to begin a big project for green areas. We sent 2,000 requests to large business reps in Tirana to sponsor the Orbital forest. We aim to plant 2 million trees in the 14 to 15 coming years, declared the mayor. Tirana's mayor also presented his objectives for developing the city and his plans for public transportation to the foreign experts. According to the mayor, 250,000 citizens are now choosing public transportation and noted that electronic bus tickets will be used soon. Albania and Kosovo are asking for the EU Commissioner for Enlargement, Mr. Johannes Hahn, to intervene and solve the stalemate created over the 400 kilowatt interconnection line with Kosovo. Albania's Minister of Energy and Kosovo's Vice Minister of Economic Development raised their concerns at the 6th Ministerial of the Western Balkans, which is being held in Skopje. You know that Kosovo and Albania have constructed an interconnection line which has not been put into function because of the failure to recognize Kosovo's independence. This can also affect many investments of the future. We are asking the Commissioner and the institutions involved to intervene and help find a solution. This is a contribution to all countries of the region, declared the Minister of Energy. At the meeting of energy ministers, the heads of the Energy Community Secretariat and the European Commission analyzed the progress of reforms in the Balkans energy sector. The European Commission and the European Investment Fund signed an agreement granting a €40 million contribution from the European Union to support the program of regional energy efficiency. Albania is expected to benefit from this fund through the creation of the Energy Efficiency Agency. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.